Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Leslyn Keith, the president of the board with the Lipedema Project and director of research. I'm here with my friend and colleague, Gail Straker. Hi, Gail.
Hi, Leslyn. It's good to see you today.
Yeah, and Gail is our community manager as well as our director of coaching. And we are here with you as we are every Friday, sometimes not always here at our home, sometimes at other places. But we're here every Friday to talk about what's new and coming up with lipedema and kind of let you know the exciting things that are happening. And we do have a number of things to talk about today. So I'm just looking at my list, everything we want to do. And I was going to start with the Low Carb Denver conference that Siobhan and I were presenting at last weekend. And it was fun to connect with you, Gail, and Catherine during Low Carb Denver. So last Friday, Siobhan and I got on with you guys for the Friday What's New and Coming Up with Lipedema Facebook Live. And we talked to you guys from Denver, which was a little bit crazy because as soon as we started talking, the doors opened and everybody came out from the main auditorium. So it got a little bit crazy, but that was fun.
Yeah, it was actually very fun to see you. I was proud, like you were my very own students or something. I was like, ah! So it was wonderful.
So, and I really can't remember what Siobhan and I talked about last Friday. And that was actually the first day of the conference. So I guess some things have happened since then. I have to say that, we were on the schedule. People knew we were going to talk about lipedema, and both of us independently had a lot of women come up to us and say, I think I have lipedema, and I'm so excited for the talk that Siobhan and we're going to give. So it was amazing how many people came up to us. Siobhan said that even one man came up to her and said he thinks his wife has lipedema. So we're reaching people, a couple at a time, hopefully several hundred at a time by giving this presentation, that we're raising the awareness. So it was pretty exciting.
Yeah, it was. And we were lucky because Catherine was able to invite a couple of us to come and watch it with her because she was she was live streaming it, and so she said, "Come watch it with us." And so we got to watch it with her. And so we were
yeah, unbeknownst to me, I guess Siobhan knew, but unbeknownst to me, you guys had a little watch party. And when we did our presentation on Sunday afternoon, apparently there was a group of you watching. And so that was exciting. I think the presentation went very well. We had a Q&A afterwards and got some good questions. As there was a break in between when Siobhan and I finished and with the Q&A, and Siobhan and I went out into the hall, and we were both of us, mobbed separately. People, congratulating us on our talk and having questions, stuff like that. I had an emergency room doctor approach me and said, what about if I have someone that looks like they have an infection, but maybe it's just that they have lipedema or lymphedema? What do you recommend I do? And I said, you pretty much, if you think they have an infection, you're going to have to medicate, because that can go bad really quickly. But he is absolutely right that lipedema and lymphedema, both, the tissue can feel a little bit warm. It can be a little bit pink. And so I would rather personally medicate and have it be a false alarm than not do anything about it, have it go really bad. So, but I understand that, it's a conundrum because you don't want to over medicate or give medication when you don't need it. But I would hate for that to, not be taken care of. So we had some interesting discussions like that.
Sounds fabulous.
Mm-hmm. Just a lot of great presentations, a lot of speakers that if you're in the low carb community, you're familiar with a lot of these people. I sat and chatted a little bit with Amy Berger, who's a nutritionist. She's presented at things for us before. Of course, talked with Jeff Gerber, who is the physician in Denver who put on the whole event. Just a lot of great presenters, and it was a fun weekend.
So what else are you and Siobhan up to?
Well, since we just finished that, we are now getting ready to do a webinar for the community. It's actually happening tomorrow. And this one is called Kind Keto for Lipedema, Gentle Nutritional Self-Care. And we really wanted to give a nice webinar that can show how you, if that is your chosen way, you can ease into keto. You can do it so it's good for your body and your psyche. You could take baby steps or you can take giant steps. So we wanted to talk about that and give some tips for that. And that's going to be happening tomorrow, March 4th at 4 p.m. Eastern. And it's free. Be sure and register, because even if you're not available at that time, you will get the replay to be able to watch it. And you'll only get that replay if you're registered. So be sure and sign up and join us.
And I did put the link in the comments. And so do make sure that you're able to do that. And if you're on Facebook, if you look at any of our pages and our support groups, you will see that that link that you can go ahead and sign up for that. And
we got a Facebook user who said that they're signed up for it and looking forward to it. Yep, I'm looking forward to being there with you. I am a bit of a stuck on one topic, and I always love to talk about keto, but I want to talk about those baby steps towards keto because not everybody's ready to go in that direction. But I love talking about nutrition. I love talking about lipedema. So it's going to be a wonderful afternoon for me. And hi, Julie, here from my neighbor in Camarillo, California. Nice to have you here. And Zelda's from New Zealand, or NS. What's NS? Nova Scotia?
Nova Scotia.
Yes. Nice to have you here. And Marilee is Pacific Northwest in the U.S. And Nancy in Naugatuck, Connecticut. Welcome. Right. Nice to have you here. And Julie is saying, so much lipedema info getting out in the world. And that is one of our big pushes, is to increase awareness. So we do a lot with that. I do my research updates. I know you have your podcast that you do, Gail. It's just anything we can do to increase awareness. We're giving presentations all the time. We've done several. Last year, we did a whole series with the Lymphatic Education Research Network. So if you out there have any suggestions on other places that you'd like us to speak, to present, let us know, because maybe we don't know about it.
Yeah, and you can reach out to us. I'm looking for that that right now. This is what, if you want to reach out to me and send me a question, if you'll put the subject line mailbag and just at gail@lipedema-simplified.org. You can always reach out to Catherine. You can reach out to Leslyn. All of our emails. Well, Catherine and my email, it's our first name, Catherine with a C @lipedema-simplified.org. We'll make sure that the person who needs to see it sees it. Mm-hmm. And if you have a research question, you can always write to Leslyn at lipedemaproject, .org.
Yes.
So make sure that you reach out to us.
And I'm not entirely sure about Siobhan's email, if hers is with the Lipedema Simplified or Lipedema. She's at Project. Okay.
She's at Lipedema Project.
Okay. Yes. Excellent. So she's always a good person to contact as well. So another really cool thing we got up that I wanted to ask you about, Gail, is our group coaching. Can you tell everybody a little bit about that?
Yes, so we are having a small group coaching. Let's see if we have if I have a link for that to put up there. I don't, but I do have one to put in the chat. We're having small group coaching, and what it is you get, it's a 3-week small group, small, like between 6 and 8 people in the group with one coach. The coach that's running it is Carrie Reedy. She's a nutritionist from Australia. So it's a virtual small group coaching event, but it's 3 weeks. You get 3 what she calls content days, and then later in that week you get a coaching session, and so you end up getting over 6 hours worth of coaching. And she's going to hold a special subject meeting also this time. And I am going to grab this and put it in the comments. She is extremely helpful at finding what foods might be causing more inflammation for you. She can help you decide what supplements might be something you want to take or not want to take, depending on your own personal needs. So these small group coaching sessions are absolutely vital for some of us to take so that we can get on track with keto. And even if you don't do keto, she might help you tweak what you're already doing to make it better for you. So I put it in the chat. It's called the Coaching Collaborative Nutrition for Lipedema and Lymphedema. And it has a link there if you would like to go ahead and sign up.
And our Facebook user, I think this person is the one that they said they were from Nova Scotia, said, is the keto diet the same for lipedema and lymphedema? And I'm glad that you posted that because I think although the diet may be, the general guidelines may be the same for both of those conditions, there's so much bioindividuality. There's so many ways to tweak it for you personally. And so that's why our small group coaching group is nutrition for lipedema and lymphedema, because a lot of people have both of the conditions together, or you might have just one or the other. So we wanted to make sure that that was included in that. And sometimes you need a coach to help you figure out what is going to be the best way of doing your diet for the particular issues that you have. And we are going to talk about a little bit of that at our workshop tomorrow. So yeah, please join us. Consider signing up for the small group coaching. I think these are all good options to help you figure out how you want to eat.
Right. And if you sign up for the small group, excuse me, wait a minute, I'm backwards. If you register for Leslyn and Siobhan's webinar and you think, I'd like to start coaching tomorrow, you'll be able to start coaching tomorrow. So Saturday is the webinar, and Sunday is when that small group coaching session starts. And what a wonderful way to, that old saying, in like a lion, out like a lamb for Marge. What a wonderful way to come in like a lion, and then take yourself through the rest of March is with some coaching.
Yeah, that sounds great. That's a wonderful alternative. And I'm looking at some of the other exciting things coming up, which we do have another big thing that's coming up. And that is a very special event that's happening March 31, April 1 and 2. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Gail?
Sure. So we have coming up, that's the free webinar. I got the wrong one. Sorry, guys.
And you know what? Gail she's talking and she's working the technology with this. I mean, she is pretty much amazing at multitasking. So.
You're funny. I've had to learn a lot, and I'll tell you, I've learned so much over the last 3 years. But one of the things that I've learned about most over the last 3 years is that we need our community, and the community is helping so many people get healthier. So we're putting on what we are now calling a heart-to-heart event. I put the dates up there. Save the dates. A fresh take on lipedema and lymphedema solutions. A heart-to-heart collaborative 3-day virtual community event. That's on March 31st, April 1st, and April 2nd. And the reason that we call it a community event is because this is not a webinar. This is not a symposium where you listen and you just listen and watch. No, this is collaborative. You will come in, you'll be involved. We have community members who will be there to speak. That there'll be patient panels. We have invited professionals to come in to give talks on different things on a holistic approach to our health. We will be looking at keto. We will be looking at breathing. We'll be looking at just the holistic, the whole person. But what makes it so special is you will have the chance to get together and speak with other people in the community, along with the presenters, with Catherine, Leslyn, Siobhan. Dave Feldman's going to be there. I'm trying to think of other people who are going to be. Dr. Carmody. But
we have some of our coaches are going to be there. Veronica Rodriguez, Brian Hayward, who does all the stuff for pain management. We have a couple of speakers that are actually certified lymphedema or lymphatic therapists. One who specializes in yoga, and that's Babs Jackson. But we have Megan Ballinger and Jacqueline Della Rosario that are both lymphatic therapists. And so they're going to be talking about, what you do if you go see a lymphatic therapist. Carrie Reedy, another one of our coaches who does the small group coaching, is going to be there. Sachin Patel, who does the breathing, the amazing breathing exercises. Another one of our coaches, Faranak Amani, she's going to be there. So a lot of patient community members are going to be speaking. So we're really excited about them as well. If some of you have done in the past, we've done a lot of body peace webinars and workshops with Nina Mandelson. She's going to be there. Kim Howerton, who is big in the low carb community, and she is going to be talking also about eating and taking care of yourself. Just an amazing lineup of a lot of people are going to be there.
And the great thing about it is not only do you get to attend this virtual event, but you'll be able to ask them questions. You'll be able to meet them on the Zoom calls. So it's like having a backstage pass, because you get to go in there and you get to meet them, but you also get to meet the other attendees.
Yes.
On regular webinars, nobody sees anybody. And on these heart-to-heart events, you get to see the whole audience. You get to interact with the audience that you're part of, and you get to interact with the speakers. And it's fabulous. And anybody who has gone to a heart-to-heart event with us, please put in the chat. Please put in the comments what you thought about the heart-to-heart, because it's it's an amazing thing to have that power of the community for our healing.
And there's also the opportunity to talk to and collaborate with some of the vendors that are supporting us, our sponsors, because LymphaPress is going to be there, Own Your Labs, Wear Ease, of course, Lipedema Simplified and Lipedema Project. So, take that opportunity to talk with our sponsors that are really making this possible and supporting us and helping the community to come together.
Right. And so, yeah, we're really looking forward. And it's 4 weeks away, guys. That's all it is. It's so exciting.
Yeah, it's
It's
coming up.
very
It's coming up
exciting.
quickly. Yes.
So, Leslyn, what else was there we wanted to talk about? Something about a code?
Oh, yes. And there's a couple of things that are posted in questions too. So we will get to those as well, because we're actually doing very good on time. But something came up last time. Maybe it came up when I was doing my research update Facebook Live yesterday, that someone had asked about a diagnosis code. Yes, there is a diagnosis code. It's E88.28. And what is a diagnosis code? Well, in order for your medical provider, your healthcare provider to get paid, if they're going through your insurance, they have to have a code for your diagnosis. And for a long time, until actually pretty recently, there was no code for lipedema, that you could not have in your chart that you have lipedema or bill to your insurance. The insurance companies never heard of lipedema because there was no code to be used. They only speak in numbers and they don't know words. And so, but now it's possible for us to actually bill for, I'm doing this therapy, I'm doing this medical procedure or whatever for this specific diagnosis for lipedema. So, and I know that you've been talking about this a lot, Gail, on why it's important for us to have a lipedema diagnosis and this code.
Yes, in my grassroots brain, I firmly believe that so many of us don't have a diagnosis because we as a group, we are not insisting that we get lipedema in our charts. Because I believe that the more of us who get lipedema put in our charts, that the insurance companies doctors will go, wait a minute, you're the fourth person I've seen this week who has lipedema in their charts. What's going on? Even if you don't have, an official diagnosis with a code. But now that we have a code and we have it in our pocket, we can say, oh yeah, and here's the code. It's a real thing. But the more women, the more of us who have that in our charts, the more noticeable it's going to be. Because right now, some of the literature says it's a rare disease, and we know it's not if it affects over 10% of the female population.
Right.
We know it's not rare, right? But maybe it's rarely diagnosed. So it's really important for us to make sure we have it in our charts so that we're more and more visible all the time.
Yeah. Someone posted that they, what's the code for lymphedema? Is it the same code? No. Each diagnosis has its own code, and lymphedema has had a diagnosis code for quite some time. Every so often they have a new book that comes out. And so the codes that I was using for lymphedema years ago when I started my practice were different. So now the new set of codes for lymphedema, that one is I89.0. So you can see it's completely different from the code for lipedema, which E88.228. So yeah, there are two different codes. And if you have both conditions, your insurance should be billed for both of those codes. You can have more than one code, because so many of the procedures that we do, the treatments that we do, are similar or maybe the same for both those conditions. And so your provider should be using both those codes if you have both of those conditions.
Yeah. Now, so we have that stage that we identify as lipolymphedema. Is that those two codes together, or is that an individual code?
Okay, I seem to have faded out for a second there and I missed the question. Can you say it again?
So when we get to the stage that we call lipolymphedema, is
Yes.
that the two codes sitting right there together, or is it a separate code altogether.
They do not have a code that states that you have both of those conditions concurrently. You have to do the two separate codes. You have to do the lymphedema code and the lipedema code.
Okay.
So, and there are a lot of practitioners out there that are really adamant that we should be talking about those two conditions separately, so that there's not any confusion about, is this, having both lipedema and lymphedema together, is that its own condition? No, not really. It's just that you have, for instance, someone could have diabetes and heart disease at the same time. And it's not, when you have those two together, it's not another new condition. It's just that you have both of those co-occurring.
Right. Because someone said that they got a diagnosis of lymphedema due to lipedema.
Oh, how interesting. So, and there may be that your lipedema progresses to such a state that it really causes a drastic fluid overload that can then turn into lymphedema. But there's just a lot going on that could be going on with both conditions. And so we're not entirely sure, does one cause the other? Or is it just that you already had lymphedema, but it became really noticeable and worse because of the lipedema? There's a lot that we're still trying to figure out about these conditions.
Yeah, this is wonderful, though, that right now there's a lot of research going on and discussion about it.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask a couple of things, that I saw posted. One person, and I don't know if they figured it out, but they said they were not seeing the link for the group coaching.
Okay. I'll put that back in again. Here it is.
To make sure that they got that. And let's see. And Francesca is here from the UK. Nice to see you. And then Donna asked us, HRT, or hormone replacement therapy, does that make lipedema worse? And Donna, I would love to know the answer to that question, because unfortunately, when you read the literature that's coming out, completely opposite opinions are coming out. There was one paper that said, we strongly believe that hormone replacement therapy may actually make lipedema symptoms better in some women. And then in other papers, they say, no, this could be bad. So, and we are actually talking to some endocrinologists, some OBGYN people, particularly ones that are in the low carb community, and that can help us understand, what is going on. And maybe it's, if you have lipedema and other conditions like polycystic ovarian syndrome or other things, how they interact together, maybe that depends on whether or not hormone replacement therapy would be good for you. So we're trying to find out more, but that is not an easy question to answer, unfortunately. Okay, and Julie posted that she highly recommends the Heart to Heart event. She was at our October event and participated in all that collaboration, so that's exciting. And then Felicia says that she has no medical insurance and I'm using a public hospital and they do not allow you to see doctors. I have seen a therapist and they just give you exercise to do. I need a doctor to see if my conditions are worsening. I am gaining weight because of it. I just gained almost 20 pounds in 3 months. So yeah, and I'm not sure what country you're in, Felicia. So when you're using, at least in the US, when you're on, when you have no medical insurance, typically you do see doctors at a public hospital, but public hospitals usually don't have a program specifically that would treat lipedema and lymphedema at the hospital. Usually that's going to be, some of them might have a outpatient therapy program associated with the hospital, but there unfortunately is a wide range of what therapists think that you would do for lipedema. And that is one of the things that we're going to be talking about at our Heart to Heart event. We have several, like I say, lymphatic therapists that are going to be presenting, and they're going to talk about what you really should be receiving with that full range of complete decongestive therapy that includes manual lymph drainage, some kind of compression therapy, education on skin care. And yes, exercise would be one of it, but that by itself is not going to be a good enough intervention for lipedema. So come to our Heart to Heart to find out more about what services you should be receiving.
Yeah, and I saw that she says she's in Texas.
Oh, in Texas, okay.
Yeah. So, and usually you end up in like most people who don't have insurance, and they wait and wait and wait, and they end up in an emergency room because they have complications with something. But yeah, doctors, some of our hospitals don't have all of the
services.
The services.
Yes. Yes. So in Texas, around the US and really around the world, but I have a couple of websites that you can go to find a provider that might be able to give you this full spectrum of care. And you might be able to find someone near you. And so what I would love to have you do, Felicia, is email me, and I can give you that contact. So if you email me at Leslyn@lipedemaproject.org, and I can send you that the places that you can go to hopefully find a therapist near you that is going to give you the better care. And since you don't have insurance, though, to get that care, you're going to have to pay cash. If you don't have the cash to do that, you're going to have to, go to where they have the services. And it sounds like they don't have the proper services for you for lipedema where you are. So that's very unfortunate and really not fair.
Yeah. So Leslyn, do we have anything else on our agenda for the day?
I think we covered everything. And of course, now we went over the time because it's so fun to be here with you. And we both of us just love talking about this stuff. So we will be back again next week, every Friday, as usual. And we'll talk about it more. Contact us. Be sure and come to the webinars and our events, and be involved. We want to hear from you and work with you more.
We hope to see you tomorrow.
Yes.
Already, right?
Yeah.
The webinar. Thank you so much for hosting this with us today, Leslyn. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.